Hello and welcome everyone to this new flight simulation video. It's been a while that I've streamed the video on Facebook, but I have most of my videos streamed on YouTube and the channel's up to date. So I put the link in the description of the video, so if you can just go and visit the page and subscribe, that would be great. Anyway, so today we'll be flying the British Aerospace 146-200 variant. I don't have the livery for Nepal Airlines, which would obviously be great because we are flying from Nepal, Kathmandu, and we'll be flying today to the third international airport of Nepal. That's Tribhuvan International. Sorry, that's now it's pretty common to say Tribhuvan International Airport, but there are two other new airports in Nepal. The first one, the second one being the Gautam Buddha International Airport, and the third one, which has recently been opened. I believe the operations have not started, but the approval flight had just been done a couple of days back. I would say approval flight or a what do you call it, calibrating flight for the airport. So yeah, we'll be just flying to Pokhara airport today, Pokhara International Airport, not the actual old Pokhara airport. Now the smaller Pokhara airport, there are a few like the most of the aircraft that's flying there is turboprop. I believe there is an airlines by the name of Soria Airlines that's flying. That's a jetliner. I believe that's a CRJ 100 or 200 variant. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but yeah, most of the airlines that's flying to Pokhara previously, the smaller airport was actually the turboprops. Now you don't really see a BAE 146 aircraft in Nepal. I don't know if there is any historical airliner that has flown BAE 146 in Nepal, but I've seen like CRJ 200 and yeah, and ATRs are really popular. Besides Twin Otter, obviously you know the famous airport by the name of Lukla is also in Nepal. Jomsom is also in Nepal. There are lots of airports which are actually in Nepal, which is considered very risky and dangerous. Maybe once we complete flight from Kathmandu to Pokhara, we can go for flight from Pokhara to Jomsom, which is obviously one of the most dangerous airport in the world as well. Not because of the terrain and situation. I think it's I believe it's more of terrain as well, but you know it's basically you know the location of the airport. It's actually situated in between the mountains, and most of the pilots flying there, if you have seen the interviews on how difficult it is to fly to the airport, they say there's a funneling effect because you know, as you go down to land on Jomsom, you know, it gets really windy because there's a funneling effect and all that. So yeah, let's just get into the cockpit. I've done enough talking, so we'll just get into the cockpit here and then start preparing our aircraft. We won't be using the ATC for this flight because it's a soft flight, and yeah, I often use Microsoft Flight Simulator ATC to get the clearance and all that, but yeah, I won't be using that because it's a soft flight, and I believe we don't want to get messed up while flying the flight. So we'll just get it started here. We'll just get into cockpit now. BAE 146 from Just Flight is one of the I would say great aircraft. It's a study level aircraft that we can get, and the external modeling and the internal modeling is really great. Not only the modeling but also the flying experience is really great. I've been flying this aircraft for quite some time in Flight Simulator, but you know, yeah, I might miss a couple of stuff. But it's really fun to fly the aircraft. Now you won't get your usual navigational displays, NDs or whatever you want to call it. You won't get it. It's a analog version, so yeah, it can sound pretty complicated, but yeah, it's still a fun. So we'll just get to the cockpit now and prepare our cockpit for, and we'll try to get out of here as soon as possible. Alrighty, welcome to the cockpit. Okay, so we'll just start with turning on the battery switches on. We'll turn on battery 1 and battery 2 switch to on. We'll just check the battery voltages on both the batteries here, which is right above 28 volts. That looks correct. We'll turn on the AC and DC bus tie to on, and we'll also turn on the standby inverters and generator. Obviously everything's turned on. After that, we'll go over here to the upper overhead panel and turn on the air damper 1 and 2 to on, AP master switch to on, AVX A and B to on as well. We'll set the brake fans to auto for now and turn on the anti-skid, and we'll turn on yellow and green lift spoilers. For the lighting and the emergency switches here, we'll turn on noise smoking switch to on, and we'll turn on the cabin emergency lights to on as well. Okay, and for the nav lights, we'll set nav lights to high intensity. Alrighty, so we'll be using APU, known as the auxiliary power unit. It's basically a small jet engine on the aircraft. It has its limitation in its own way. Like in certain aircrafts like this one, you can't start the APU when you're on the air. So now APU is a kind of power hub, because batteries, you know, they won't last longer when you have, you know, so you need some time to prepare the cockpit. So in preparation to start the APU, we'll just run a couple of ground tests here. So we'll run the APU fire test and check. Okay, so the APU fire test is done. So we'll just go ahead and start our APU. So in preparation for that, I don't know why this menu keeps coming. Okay, now it's gone. We'll turn on the left inner fuel pumps, and we'll start the APU. We'll just wait for the RPM and the TGT to stabilize here. We can see that the RPM is rising and TGT is stabilizing slowly. We're waiting for the light to come up saying APU power available. Now that's available there, so we'll just go ahead and turn on the APU gen. We'll turn the galley power to on. We'll set flight deck emergency lights to arm, and we'll set fasten seatbelt sign so that when the passengers start boarding, they know to fasten the seatbelt. We'll also turn on the left pilot heaters and ice detection switch to on. Today we'll be cruising at flight level 12,500, so that's going to keep us clear of the mountain, so we'll just set that here. And we'll also set the VOR frequencies for the additional situational awareness on this aircraft. As you can see that we don't have the regular navigation display that we get on the modern airliners. Like, you know, most of the times you might have seen me flying the Boeing 737 or A310 or anything that has the proper navigation display that shows the route and everything, but this one just has a compass, so we just need to follow that. But saying that, this aircraft is RNAV capable, so we'll be using our FMS to plan our flight, and yeah, we'll just follow the RNAV path. As I mentioned, now Pokhara Airport doesn't have a specific Pokhara International Airport doesn't have any specific approach paths up until now. I believe that's going to be once the calibrating flight is completed and we get the new airback data. But for now, so we'll just it's a beautiful clear weather, so yeah, we'll just go via farm when we come for landing. Anyways, I'm just gonna set the radios on here, so just checking all the stuff on the checklist here, making sure that the spoilers are retracted, flaps are retracted, and the transponder is set to standby. Everything's looking correct. Okay, so we'll just turn on the VHF nav radio and the VHF radio. We'll just get the ATIS information as well. Maybe we'll just do the flight planning first, and then we can do the rest of the stuff. So down here is the FMS. Now that's the one that will be relating to the RNAV, and this HSI will be using it as a RNAV flight to Pokhara. So all we're gonna do is like program the FMS and or FMC or CDU or whatever you want to call it. It's all the same stuff. I know in Airbus A320, or Airbus, you call it CDU, and in Boeing you call it FMC, flight management computer, control display unit, flight management system, anything you call it, it's all the same stuff, and it's pretty much the same in every aircraft. Now this FMS is kind of limited, where can't do the performance completely, which is bad in terms of the immersion, but we have got the onboard EFB, which is going to calculate the airspeed. No, that's not going to do that either. So we have got the TMS system here, and we have got a small cheat sheet here. So we just click on that, we do our weights and everything, and it's going to give us our rotate and V2 speeds and the landing speeds as well. Anyway, so we'll just start with our flight planning here. So we'll just go to flight plan and set our origin airport. That's Victor November Kilo Tango, Kathmandu Airport. To arrival destination is gonna be Victor November Papa Kilo. That's Pokhara Airport. And let me just do a flight plan quickly on SimBrief. I haven't done it because yeah, basically as a real pilot, you'll get a briefing beforehand the flight, but it's really quick. So I must say I've been lazy on that. So yeah, the flight number for today is 426, and we are departing from BNKT, arriving to BNPK, and airframe that we'll be using is British Aerospace 146-200 So let me just select that. Okay, we have our flight path direct, but let's just do this. Okay, 1F. Okay, that would be better. So I've already got my flight plan, so I'll just go to departure. We'll be departing from runway number 02 or 20. Let's just get the ATIS information and fly from the active runway here. So the ATIS frequency for the Kathmandu airport is 127.00. Now that is the information about the air traffic and automated system, where you can get the weather, the altimeter, the current altimeter frequency and everything. So we'll just
Kathmandu Airport information, Oscar 0200 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 8.
Temperature is 8.
Dew point, 10. QNH tree 0.09er. Visual runway 02 in use.
02 in use.
Landing and departing runway 20.
Okay, 20.
VFR
Okay.
aircraft, say direction of flight.
Okay, so we'll be departing from runway number 20, and we'll be using the instrumental departure, standard instrumental departure. Not that you have to use one, but we'll be just using that. Just give me a sec. Just having a look here. Just looking at the previous page here. It's given me 1F on the Siem Reap plan, but 1F is not available on the ages here. Let me just go ahead and save this flight and then generate this flight, and then I'll have it on Navigraphs to get a much more clearer picture here. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see the Navigraph thing, but yep. I'm just going to import the flight from Siem Reap. I'm gonna set that up here. Oh, it's gonna be better if I just use the Navigraph charts on here. It's gonna tell me to authenticate. No, it didn't. Oh, the flight condition has suddenly changed. Okay, we'll just get the new ATC information.
Kathmandu Airport information, Oscar 0300 Zulu. Wind 090 at tree. Visibility 4. Sky condition, clear. Temperature 8. Dew point 10. QNH tree 0.090.
Okay.
Visual runway 02 in use. Landing and departing runway 20.
Not much information has changed, but yeah, I think the visibility has reduced slightly. That's all good, and it's quite common because it's winter in Nepal at this moment. So we'll just execute that, and we'll go to legs. Runway number 20, flight plan, origin runway, so direct to KTM, that's the KTM VOR. So VOR DME, and that's been set. And we'll just go to next page. And direct to waypoint Darke. And direct to waypoint Manak. And obviously we're gonna fly overhead before we come in and land. We'll have a beautiful view of Phewa Lake on landing, and we'll be flying over to Pokhara VOR PHR. Execute. That's all set. We'll set the HSI1 to RNAV and 2 to RNAV as well. We'll turn on the weather transponder. It's not working, but yeah, we'll turn on the damper as well. We'll set the frequencies on our nav radios. The first one is going to be 113.20. That's the VOR frequency for the Kathmandu VOR, and we do have a NDB station as well, but not much on the way, so we'll just set the standby frequency to 112.80 for the standby frequency. That's the VOR for Pokhara. That's all been set. So we'll climb and maintain 12,000. So at the waypoint Darke, we got to be at flight level of 10,500 or above. The runway heading is 202. We'll just set that. And we'll load our passengers and fuel, and we'll be out of here. Okay, let's just that's one set, and they're heading to Dark is 288. We'll set that on map too. Okay, and we'll also set our SDZ to runway heading. That's gonna be 202. And that has been set. So we can turn on both the flight directives, and we can also arm our altitude and LF. Okay, now the cockpit preparation is almost ready. We'll just go ahead and test our hydraulics pumps so that we can start the door. Sorry, we can open the door. It requires some form of hydraulics, and the air stage as well. We'll test our PTU as well. That's a backup hydraulic system in case the engine fails. We can use that as a backup. So we can turn off the PTU, and we'll keep the AC hydraulic pump to on, and we're gonna open the door here, and we'll just open the stairs as well. So as per our sim brief plan, we'll just follow that. So the number of packs on today's flight is 99. Come on, that's not correct. That's set. And the amount of cargo is only 500 kilograms, so 250 here. That's incorrect. 0250 here, and gotta set 0250 here. Come on, 0250. Okay, that's been set. Okay, so the fuel that we'll be carrying is 4.1 tons with 0.7 extra, so not much. So what we can do is have how much? Let's put it equal, so 1500 here. Something's wrong on this. 150. Come on. I'm not able to change this. It's 1500. Okay, that's all good, and we'll do the same on this one as well. Not 150. Come on. Okay, that's all good, and we'll put 500 here. 4.1, so 1500, 1100 here. Okay, that one's all good. Let's just keep 1500 here. Okay, that was good, and we'll just set again 1100. Okay, that's all good. We'll turn on the the center tank transfer to auto. Okay, so we'll also remove the chocks, but let's just check our brake pressure here. So yellow brake pressure is above 2800 psi, and the brakes are on yellow and stored. Okay, we can remove the chocks now. We haven't turned on our packs. That's something that we'll do, but that's alright. We're already on our engine start sequence, so we'll just get that. We'll just have it turned off. So we'll just pull up the stairs and close the forward packs as well. The passenger loading is done straight ahead. It's not like PMDZ where you get the you'll have to wait until the passengers and cargoes are loaded. But that's all right. So we'll turn on. Thank you for that. So we'll just turn on beacon lights, and the packs and the APU is turned off. We'll turn on all the fuel pumps in preparation to start our engine, and we'll turn on the engine anti-ice as well. Okay. Uh, we'll just go ahead on the engine selector here and start with engine number 4. Set engine masters to on, and we'll start engine number 4 now. We'll be observing the N1, so we can see that the N1 is rising. I'll just get a better view. We'll introduce the fuel when the N1 is 20%, 18% now, 20% introducing fuel. Fuel is set to on for engine number 4. We'll check the fuel flow. Fuel flow is normal. Observing the TGT. TGT is rising. Observing N2 now. N2 is rising as well. We'll set the TMS after that, or we can do it now. We need to do it beforehand, but we can do it later as well. Anyways, the N2 is rising and it's looking good. We have good engine start for engine number 4. We'll be setting the engine selector switch to 3 now, and we'll start engine number 3 now. And once rising, waiting for 20%, and once 20%, introducing the fuel. Checking fuel flow. Fuel flow is normal. Observing TGT. TGT is rising. N2 is rising. Alrighty, N1 is rising and stabilizing. We have good engine start for engine number 3 as well. So we'll select engine selector to number 2, starting engine number 2. There are 4 engines on this aircraft, pretty unusual, but it was a decent solution back in 1960s or 70s when this aircraft was being developed. Most of the aircraft were turboprop, and those aircraft were not popular. And once 20% introducing the fuel, I mean, like, not I don't mean to say not popular, but not economical. So, and then it was not fast. It was pretty old, slow and junky, and they were trying to do something new. And since Airbus and Boeing was not introducing any short-haul aircraft, so British Aerospace Engineering thought this is going to be a best example, and was pretty successful. I would say this aircraft was sold around 600, 700 aircrafts, and late Queen Elizabeth had a private aircraft, so private British Aerospace aircraft as well. I'm not sure if there are any British Aerospace aircraft flying. So we have a good engine start for engine number 2. We'll just select engine number 1. And we'll start the engine. We're just checking the same thing here again on this one as well. So N1 is rising. We're just waiting for N1 to reach 20%. N1 is 20%. Sorry, I just missed it out. I was just looking at the chats if there's any comments there. If there's none, that's all good. So observing TGT is rising, N2 is rising as well. Okay, engine 1 is stabilizing. We have good engine start for engine number 1. We'll set the engine starter switch to off, and engine master switch to off as well. We'll turn on generator 4, engine generators to on. We have galley power on. We'll keep the APU on. We'll turn the AC pump to off. We'll turn on the engine hydraulic pumps to on. We'll turn APU here to on. We'll turn on the pack 1 and pack 2 to on, and we'll turn the screen heat to on, and we'll turn off the engine anti-ice to off. Okay, so we have everything ready. We are good to taxi down the runway here. So we're just gonna do final checks. We'll just set the trim there. We'll be flying with flaps 18. We'll just set up the TMS. Now, with the BAE 146 aircraft, you won't get the auto throttle. Like most of the aircraft, they have auto throttle in them. But yeah, as I mentioned, that this aircraft was developed back in 1960s, 70s. So autopilot is also pretty basic. And if you are flying the modern airliners, you might find it you might find it a bit complicated because it doesn't work the way the modern autopilot does. So we'll go about it when we are in actual flight. So let's just turn on our TMS and perform the test. And what was the temperature outside? So was it 8 or was it 9? Because let me just double check that.
Kathmandu Airport information, Oscar 0300
The test is complete.
Zulu. Wind 090 at tree. Visibility 4. Sky condition clear. Temperature 8. Dew point 10. QNH tree 0.09. Visual runway 02 in use. Landing and departing runway 20.
Sorry, I missed the
VFR aircraft say direction of flight.
temperature.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Oscar. Kathmandu Airport information, Papa 0300 Zulu.
What's the temperature?
Wind
7 or
090
10?
at tree. Visibility 4. Sky condition clear. Temperature 8.
Okay, temperature is
Dew point
8. We'll just
10.
set that.
QNH tree 0
Yeah.
decimal 09.
That's enough for us. So we'll just do the. How does this work? Is like it's gonna give us a reference, and we'll have to control the throttle by ourselves. So it's all on us. We have to keep on observing the airspeed, and it's quite easy to actually stall when you're coming into land because you're pretty accustomed to flying onto throttle most of the times, and there's a stall protection system. Now that's the basic airspeed indicator. And basically on the PFD, on the modern airliner, you'll see sudden constraint that will tell like we are going too slow, and then it's going to tell airspeed, or it's going to take over automatically when the airspeed's too low. It's going to engage the auto throttle automatically, but in this it's all on you. So I myself have experienced that multiple times, so we'll have to keep an eye on the airspeed when we're coming into approach as well. So now, as I mentioned, now this is a reference system, and then it is kind of auto throttle, but it's not gonna give you it's not gonna push the auto throttle automatically when you click on IAS here. You don't see it's not gonna forward the IAS automatically. Let's say let's just click on takeoff here. So it gives us the takeoff N1 at 94.2%. And if we click on this little cheat here, it's going to set us the reference there. So that's the target we're going to put on the takeoff. So as you can see now, there are arrows here that says forward throttle forward. Push the throttle forward. So and what's going to do is, like, when I click the sync button on here, if I'm at 91%, let's say, and if I leave the throttle at that, so the TMS system will automatically put it at 94.2%. That is how it works. It's kind of auto throttle, but it's pretty smart system. Anyway, so we'll turn that off for now, and we'll turn it on when we are on the runway. So I believe that explains basically how the TMS system works. But let's go down here, but let's go down and taxi down the runway, and then we'll take off from here. So for takeoff, we'll just turn on the taxi lights and the runway lights as well. And the beacon lights are already on, and passengers are already on board, and everything's all good. So we'll just go ahead and start taxiing. So we'll just release the parking brake. We'll check out flight controls on the way to the runway. So we're just starting the taxi now slowly. So flight control checks. Pull down, neutral, pull down. Pull left, neutral, pull right. We'll also check our brakes, and then we'll check the rudder as well. Brakes, line brakes. Rudder check, pull left, pull right. Flight control checks are complete. We can continue taxiing. So we'll be flying with flaps 18, and as per our small reference sheet here, so rotate is 125 and V2 is 133. That one's already set here. So we'll set our indicated airspeed to 180 knots. 160, 180 knots it's set. So yeah, Kathmandu airport is pretty small and pretty congested at the time. I've flown out of Kathmandu airport maybe 3 times, and it can get really busy and messy at the same time. It was the only international airport before the Gautam Buddha International Airport and the other airport, Pokhara International Airport, where we're flying to today, came into operations. Okay, we'll just stop here and do our before takeoff checklist, and then we backtrack runway 20, and then we'll just depart. We'll turn the grid time to on for now, and we'll set transponders to TARA. We'll just run on the taxi lights to on. We'll advise cabin.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
And turn on the stop lights. We'll keep the APU running up until we complete our after takeoff checklist, and we'll turn it off then.
Cabin is secure.
Okay, cabin secure. We're good for takeoff. It is quite unusual. Maybe we'll get some unusual activity, but Kathmandu airport is not that busy compared to other airports in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We just have like a few aircraft that may fly in at this time, but yeah, runway is pretty much clear. Instead of runway 20, let's just do direct KTM. That one's set. As I mentioned, the external and internal checks are ringed by Just Flight. For this aircraft is done perfectly by Just Flight. So this aircraft is also known as the aircraft that has the parachute. I'll show you on flight when we start our descent, we can do a very, very quick and sturdy descent, and we can, with this aircraft, I don't think you will ever be out of profile on your descent. Even if you're out of profile, you have these parachutes on the back. Let me just try and deploy that for now. Yeah, that is pretty big. So you can deploy that, and you can, be really, really, you can come really, really, you can come down really quick and manage your speed really well. So yeah, this one's pretty unique for the aircraft, isn't it? Parachute. Anyways, let's just get back to the cockpit here, since we are almost ready for takeoff. Okay, we'll just sit here, and I'm just checking the VOR frequency for kind of KTM. So it's supposed to be 130.20, and that one's set, and the primary one is 133.112.80 for Pokhara. I don't know why I keep complaining on that. But that's all set, so we are good for takeoff now. Everything's clear, runway lights are on, cabin crew has been advised, flaps set for takeoff. We can turn on the TMS now and try to set it to takeoff. Both the flight directors are on, initial cruise altitude is 10,500, everything's set. Okay, releasing parking brake. Okay. Throttle stabilized.
TMS set to takeoff.
Set takeoff thrust.
Speed alive, both sides. 80 knots cross checked. Power set, flex achieved.
100 knots.
V1, rotate. V2, positive rate of climb.
Is coming up. We'll just bring our nose down a little. Let the aircraft actually. Flying at Kathmandu airport is pretty challenging because you've got mountains and terrains nearby. So there's a quick right turn, and right after that KTM VOR. So we have to be at 7,500 feet and southern from here. As you can see, there are definitely mountains in the haze here.
VFTO, safe height speed, select flaps.
Flaps coming up. Let's set our speed to 10 knots. Flaps coming up. We're heading to our waypoint Darky now. We'll have fly for a few moments, and then we'll let the autopilot do its thing and try and explain. I'm not a good explainer, but I'll try and explain how the autopilot on this thing works. Okay, after takeoff checklist, landing gears up, flaps up. We can turn off the AP now, and turn on the AP to off. Engine here, that's turned on. As I mentioned, Kathmandu is actually a valley, and there are lots of mountains here. As you can see on our left hand side, that's just the AP master. Climbing really good. We'll bring the throttle down. 250 knots. So we will be cruising at flight level 1250, 12,500, and we'll engage the autopilot now. Let's put it on autopilot. That's going to be its thing. Now we can either select the vertical speed mode or the IS mode. So how does that work is like when not on sync mode. Now I don't understand how the sync mode works, but what I can do is like I can trim the aircraft a little bit more and set the pitch attitude, set the climb rate here, and click on vertical speed, and it's gonna maintain that vertical speed. So that is how the autopilot works. It's not like you have a knob where you can actually select the vertical speed. You have to manually set the climb rate, which is around 1900 feet per minute here, and right after that, once you have trimmed the aircraft properly, you just click on vertical speed, and that's how the autopilot is going to maintain that vertical speed. So I wouldn't I haven't tried the VNAV, but I don't think the aircraft is VNAV capable, saying that, because for VNAV I think you need to have the autopilot which is capable. We'll just decrease the climb rate here a bit because we are kind of bit. So I'll just click on that, and then I'll just trim the aircraft a bit down, maybe to 1500 feet per minute. A bit more, a bit less. A little bit turbulent like this. Yep, that one's looking good. We'll just hit vertical speed now, and it's going to maintain that vertical speed. So this one's really good. So 12,500. We are almost at our cruising altitude. So we can turn on the fasten seatbelt sign. And we can release the cabin to so that we can start in flight, serving. Anyway, so yes, so it's really good. Now it's going on altitude mode because we're not climbing. And as I mentioned now, as you can see, if I now I'm going to explain a bit more about the sync mode on this one. So if I click on sync, and it has this thing where the master is into number 1, so it's going to follow into number 1 only, and it's going to take the reference from N1. That's right there, right there on the 7. So what I'm going to do is like if I pull the throttle down a bit more on engine number 1, everything's going to like sync together. So that is how the autopilot, the auto throttle works here. So as you can see, like it's syncing automatically. So pretty much same to what the engine 1 is doing. So that is how the auto throttle system works. Let's hit our speed here. So it's pretty easy to overspeed on this aircraft for that reason. So since there is no system which is going to tell you, like you don't have auto throttle, so you're going to manage and monitor the auto throttle by yourself at all times. Just go straight to Pokhara here. It's just 50 nautical miles. Now, flying in Nepal is pretty challenging, not only because of the limitation of NAVADs. There is the Kathmandu approach is difficult in itself, there is RNAV approach, which is kind of precision approach, but there is no ILS, and there has been accidents, number of accidents in the past. I think the most popular one was Thai Air back in 1990s, and there was another crash that just happened on the very next day. That was for Pakistan Airlines. So what had happened during the flight of Thai Airways was they were flying in to Kathmandu, and the weather was really bad. It was really bad. It was, when I say bad, it was crazy bad. I mean, like, it was, the visibility was really, really low. And at the time, the Kathmandu airport was not that developed. The runway, it was long enough. And the aircraft involved was actually Airbus A310. Both the aircraft crashes involved was actually Airbus A310, and it was not a coincidence. I would say it was just I don't know. I would say kind of unlucky. So it was pretty bad, Like before talking about that, we will be approaching our top of the descent fairly quick here. So we want to be the airport elevation at Pokhara Airport. Just going to get the information open the airport. So airport elevation is 2,684 feet. So on approach, maybe we should be around 6,500 feet. So we'll just do the top of descent calculation. It's straight, simple and straight. So we'll use the magic rule of 3, obviously. So currently at 12,500 feet, we need to descend, we need to be at 6,500. So we'll be reaching 6,000 feet, multiplied by 3, that's 80 nautical miles, is going to be top of descent. We can also use the top of descent using the calculated here. The target altitude is 6,000 feet. Having said, it's getting a 20 nautical mile. Okay, that looks good. So we will just when we are 20 nautical miles, we'll start our descent. Yes. Coming back to the story of the Thai Airways and Pakistan Airways, which crashed almost the very next day. So the first crash was for Thai Airways, and the second crash was for the Pakistan Airways. So what had happened was. Yeah, the visibility was pretty low, and obviously it's quite easy to put blames on pilot, but then this crash was specifically a pilot error. So the visibility was quite low, and then when they were arriving at the airport, just give me a second. The graphic looks kind of nasty because DLS is on, so I'll just put this on TAA and apply and save. And we'll just go back, and it's going to look better now. Anyways, yeah. So when they were approaching now, the first incident was the airport told that the airport is closed, and think about diving into Kolkata. And as they were arriving, coming down, descending, the visibility improved slightly, and then the aircraft and the airport opened back again. Now, what had happened was when they were descending again, what had happened was the thing again. What happened was the visibility went down again, and when the visibility went down. The thing that happened was the airport closed again, and as they were coming down, you can see the airport now, and we are on top of the descent as well. So they came down. They couldn't see the airport. They did the missed approach, and they were just doing a go around. And when they were doing that, just like a little more. when they were doing that, what happened was they just started descending as well to 6,000 feet. So very speed, we're on power down. Select descent mode on TMS. Trim our aircraft. And as they were commencing the go around, what had happened was they entered a waypoint called Ratan, and the waypoint Ratan. It was since it was very cloudy, and then they didn't have the situational awareness of the direction and everything. And what they did was they put a waypoint Ratan, but it was a glitch on the thing, or on the flight management computer, or not sure what had happened. But the waypoint soared on the opposite direction from where it was supposed to be. And what they did was they flew straight into the mountain. Now, there were a number of things that was mistaken when this was done, but they should have, first off, they should have gone around, they should have diverted to Calcutta directly, which they didn't do. And the visibility was not getting better, it was getting worse in Kathmandu. So they should have just diverted to Kolkata. But that's just my personal view. There's a full aircraft investigation video by National Geographic if you are interested to go and watch it. Obviously, it's a pretty good one, and you'll get to learn lots of stuff. And the second crash was for Pakistan Airlines Airways on the very next day. And that crash happened due to pilot error as well. So as they were following the approach chart, the VOR chart, visual approach, VOR DME approach to running 102, they descended one step forward. So there is a DME point where it tells you that you're going to be at certain DME point before you actually start descent. So it's a step descent. It's not going to be a straight line descent, but a step descent coming to coming down to Kathmandu. Now that's because of the terrain that surrounds the airport. So it was a classic case. Both the crashes were a classic case of CFIT, controlled flight into terrain, the Thai Airways and Pakistan Airways. So they were supposed to be at certain altitude at certain point, but what they had done was they had completely missed a certain DME point, and they were below certain altitude they were supposed to be when they were at certain DME point, and they headed straight to the mountains. They headed straight to the mountains, and then they crashed. So that was how the crashes happened. So we are almost here at Pokhara International Airport. This is the new international airport. Now this is the freeway scenery that I got from flightsim.to. Shout out to them and the developers, the creators as well. Good design. The terminals has been well designed as well. So we'll do the rest when we are on ground. Now we are approaching very fast. So that lake right here is the Pewa Lake. So we'll just go right around the mountain and then come down and approach the runway. Now that's not the official approach, but I'm just going to use that for now. So we'll disengage the autopilot and we'll fly manually for our descent. So I'm disengaging the autopilot. Okay. We're bringing throttle all the way down, and we're gonna slow down fairly quickly here. The speed's below 205. We'll just put the landing gear down. So flaps 5, flaps 16. Parameter second. I see the frame drops slightly, so I'll just put this down to 200. Flight Simulator is pretty demanding in terms of graphics. The graphic card that I'm using right now is RTX 3090. I know there are newer versions, but I don't have budget for that kind of stuff. It's really expensive. We can bring the spoilers back up. Flap set for tape for landing, and the speed VREF is 119 knots. Slightly slow. Let's let it down to 190. So quick correction will set 123 knots. 24 knots, sorry.
1,000.
We'll do a tight left turn as we are going to come down to align with the new runway. And I believe the puppy lights has been installed, and we'll just use the puppy lights to let ourselves down. It would be great to see some, like the gliders. The paragliding around, but Pokhara is very popular for paragliding. A bit fast here. So when we are down at 500 feet, we'll engage our spoilers. We deploy our spoilers for landing. So that's a runway on 9 o'clock. There we go. Aligning with the runway. Uplet showing 1 red, 3 white. We'll descend. $1,000. Landing checklist, landing lights are on. Cabin crew has been notified. I believe so.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
Yep, seats for landing is set. Landing lights are out, landing is down, flap sets for landing. Spoilers is
Cabin
down.
secure.
3 whites now. Sets for landing. Landing checklist is complete. So I'm just busy thinking about the lights here. Yep, on profile. Speed. Observe the speed. It was going slightly low. Landing. Let's cross second.
50, 40, 30, 20,
Closing throttle.
10,
Ground idle.
Down
Spoilers. Brake pressure seen. 80 knots. 60 knots.
Okay, we'll just backtrack the runway towards the taxiway. There was some flight. We'll bring the flaps up. We're on ground, so we'll just turn on the APU as well. So yeah, this aircraft doesn't have the reverse thrusters. So instead we just use the spoilers to slow down the aircraft. And it's beautiful weather here in Pokhara. I know it's pretty early in the morning in Nepal, maybe around 5 a.m. So probably we'll do the second flight to Johnson from Pokhara. We'll select Twin Otter and we'll fly to Johnson as well. The flights happens in the early morning because, as I was mentioning earlier, you get funneling effect and it gets really in the afternoon. And the flight happens when the winds are really wind speed are not that high. So yeah, good job done by the freighter here. That's the actual terminal building. And yeah, the modeling is really good. There are a few air bridges. I don't think there is actually an air bridge in Pokhara. Or there is, I'm not sure, maybe there is. We'll just taxi down the next on the ramp. From here, we'll just turn off the landing lights and turn the taxi lights on, stop lights are coming off. We'll turn on the engine gear to off and we'll turn on the APU gear to on. Welcome to Pokhara International Airport. We just park right in front of the terminal. I'm going to do a bit of a walk around the terminal and give you a glimpse of the Pokhara International Airport in Flight Simulator. We'll just park on the left here. Okay, let's just get back to cockpit. Parking brake is set. Since AP gen is on, we can turn off all the engines.
Coming through, doors to manual and cross-check.
Passenger sign set to off. Helmet sets to off, and we can turn off the beacon light as well. And we'll turn off Gen 3 and Gen 4 to off. We'll turn on the fuel pump to off, and damper to off, AP masters to off, and we'll keep the brake fans on because yeah, landing was a little fast. I will turn on the AC pump so we can open the doors. We'll request for the chocks, and AC pump is on, so we'll just open the forward packs and open the stairs so that passengers can start onboarding the aircraft. Okay, that was all good. We'll just set the packs 1 to on, and we'll keep everything to normal. So welcome to Pokhara. So let's just go around and have a look. I'll just manage that angle there, and I'll manage the speed of the camera here. So I'll just set that to 30 and set that to 10. So that's our aircraft right there. Beautiful aircraft. Anyways, let's just go back here and look at this new airport. The exterior has been designed pretty well. I don't know where did they get the picture from. The airbridge, I didn't know that I can actually walk inside the it's not letting me walk inside. Let me just go and try and get inside. No, it's not. Anyways, let's just try to get inside. Inside there's nothing but exterior wise, this is Pokhara International Airport. They have been telling it's a regional airport, but I believe that Airbus A320, Boeing 737-700 series A319 can land here. Beautiful, really beautiful job. Anyway, so our next flight will be to Johnson from Pokhara. We'll be flying Tara Air, Twin Otter from Pokhara to Johnson. I'll take a short break here, and we'll be right back for the flight to Johnson in Twin Otter. And thanks for watching, and please do subscribe and subscribe to my channel if you like my video. Thank you very much. We'll just take a short break here now, and then I'll just prepare for the flight to Johnson, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to our flight simulation video. So we've just completed the first leg from Kathmandu to Pokhara, landing at Pokhara International Airport here. So we are at Pokhara International Airport again, and we'll be departing this time to Jomsom. So the previous flight was with British Aerospace 146 aircraft. This flight's gonna be with the Aerosoft's Twin Otter X. Now this is a really good add-on, and I have a local livery as well, Tata Air. Tata Air is actually a subsidiary, a sister company with AT Airlines, and all the regional flights, to a remote location is done by Tata Air only. It used to be done by AT Airlines before, but right now it's done with Tata Air now. They have fleet of ATRs now. They used to have Jetstream 4100 BJS 4100 before. Now I think they've stopped using that aircraft. And now they have ATRs and they have twin otter fleets. Now Tata Air ATA has been in Nepal for quite a long time, and they have flown to most of the regional locations. They are very popular airlines. They are second biggest airlines in Nepal after Buddha Air, the local carrier. Buddha Air is one of the biggest airlines in Nepal, and the AT Airlines is the second biggest. They carry largest number of passengers by volume. And unlike Buddha Air, who only do flights to like big cities, like let's say Viratnagar, Birganj, Nepalganj, Janakpur, Simra, AT Air and Tata Air, they do flights across the country, and they serve in pretty remote location. And saying that, great job by pilots. And there has, and because the terrain, as you see, is pretty dramatic. I'll just try to lift off here, and I'll just get the better camera view here. So let's just increase the drone speed to 250, and I'll just lift off here. And as you can see, the terrain around this place is really crazy, and it's really easy, like when the it's really difficult to fly when the weather is pretty bad, and quite often, pilots decide to fly. There is no weather station around. They just visually fly, and then they end up crashing. Like the last flight, the last time there was a crash was a flight that was inbound to Jomsom, and as per the investigation reports, it has indicated that it was actually a controlled flight in the terrain because of bad weather. So lots of crashes due to bad weather. Now for us, it's a pretty good weather. Maybe I'll just change the setting a bit here so we can see less green. Otherwise, the weather is right now it's snowing in the region probably, so that's why you see all the the places close to the mountains pretty widen up. So I'll just go and set up the weather, and I'll take the live weather off, but I'll put a few clouds, so we can sort of have a realistic feel. I don't know if that's going to be realistic, but still. Anyways, so we'll just get down to the aircraft now. I'm just going to press 5, and it's going to bring us right back to the aircraft. We'll prepare the cockpit and the aircraft for takeoff. We'll close the doors. The passengers are all on board, which I assume. I'll just go to close the door as well. Passenger door is closed. Okay, passenger door is closed as well. So we'll remove the protector there. We'll go to overhead panel, turn battery switches to on, master switch to on as well, and we don't need those lights. We'll just turn those lights, fan lights to off. I want to off as well. We'll turn on anti-collision light. Come on. Position light, no smoking signs and fasten seatbelt signs to on. Just making sure that's on. Yep, that's looking good. And right after that, we'll turn the generator 1 and generator 2 to on. Alrighty, we'll just set our navigation. We'll be flying to VNJ, sorry for that. V Victor November Juliet Sierra. Johnson set. It gives us the flight plan, so we'll not be climbing that high, so probably 10,500 feet. 11 set. And we'll set that to nav 1. And we'll turn on the fuel pumps and forward boost pump to on. The altimeter is set to 995. There's no AT service here, so just start our engines. Simple as that. So we'll set starter to right. We'll see the PSI is rising, introducing fuel. Ground idle. RPM is rising. We have good engine start for engine number right, starting engine number left. Alrighty, so the oil pressure is rising, and the prop RPM is rising as well. We have good engine start for engine number 1. Okay. Alrighty, we'll just run on the taxi lights. Passenger seats are set. We'll fly with flaps 20. We'll take off with flaps 20. Taxi lights is on, and we'll start taxiing down the runway. Okay. Brakes. I think it's going to be a long taxiway down the runway. Just trying to speed up things here. Obviously, it's advisable. Yeah, there has been lots of crashes. Johnson is a very popular tourist destination in Nepal. And yeah, there are lots of tourists flying during the tourist season, which is obviously somewhere around this time. also a religious place, pretty religious place down in Johnson, called Temple. There are lots of pilgrims who fly down to Johnson, and there are lots of Indian tourists as well. Now there are other aircraft as well, like the late 410 from Summit Airlines and Sita Airways Dornier Dual 228. It's a pretty old and robust aircraft, and they do fly down there as well. Now this is going to be a longer flight. Now Pokhara flight was pretty short because we were flying on a jetliner. Now this probably is going to be 20 minutes or so, but what we're going to do is like, we're not going to fly over mountains, we'll just follow the river track when we fly to the towards Johnson, and that's going to take us direct to the London. It's basically the feature of terrain that is very, very helpful when flying to this regional airports, because there are no planets available, there is no air station, there's nothing. The airport there is just a vital, so you just, and then they'll tell you how the weather is like. The weather is like in surrounding the airport, not on your flight path, but surrounding the airport. So what happens is like when there is flight, obviously there are multiple flights going, and then what happens is like the flight in the front coordinates with the flight in the back, and then they just talk, and then they just ask like how's the flight, how's the weather. So it's pilots having pilot. We are nearly at the runway now. So again, for takeoff, flat sets for takeoff, top set to full, and landing lights are on, taxi lights set to off, trim set for takeoff, here right, here left, and heading down to the runway. We are taking off now. Cabin crew is seated for takeoff. Alrighty, good to go. Take a plus, ring stabilize, take a plus set. Knots. Everyone rotate. We'll just climb slowly here so I can give you a scenic view. Lots of greenery. Nepal. So you'd only see like a dense urban areas on the capital cities. Everywhere else it's green. Flying manually, the entire flight. Manually. We'll just overfly the. Let's just overfly the old airport, which is not old, but it is operational. But in Flight Simulator, it is old now. So let's just overfly the airport, and then we'll just get back to that. Just want to get all the flight simulator has not got the accurate net data. I think the net data is pretty old on this one because if I fly around other airports in the world, like let's say Sydney or Melbourne, you know, the roads and everything is just pretty accurate, and the scenery is pretty accurate as well. Right there, that's a temple in the middle of the lake. The temple name is called Barahi. It's a very popular destination, and there are lots of boats. You can actually take a boat from here to there, and there is also a boat piece heritage somewhere around here, and there's a hike that you can take all the way from down here to go up to the top of the mountain, and there is also a lot of paragliding stuff that happens. I tried it once, but I didn't make it. It was very dark. We're just trying to get there and see if there's something there, and we'll get back on track. Yep, that is where it is, but yeah, it has not been reflected very well. Anyways, we'll just get back on track here. Increase our throttle. Bring our flaps up. We'll swing the aircraft to maintain current climb rate of 5,000 feet, 550 minutes. Little bit cruising here. That looks beautiful. So Nepal is pretty popular for mountains, but there are other stuffs as well that we can do in Nepal, like bungee jumping, rafting, and yeah, you can also go to paragliding and trekking as well. There are lots of other places that you can be as well, and Nepal is a pretty economical destination as well. People are very welcoming and friendly, and almost every person in Nepal, they can speak some level of some of English. If you speak English, and if you want to travel by yourself, you should be able to, because yeah, most of our population, they do understand English, and they speak English as well. But if you are, if you're traveling as a tourists, not climbing mountains. It's visa and arrival for most of the countries, I believe. It's visa and arrival for Australians as well. I think same for Americans. And most of the countries it's for their visa and arrival. And I think the visa fee is around $100. I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's around $100 or so. And it's visa and arrival, and it's pretty easy and quickly. So you can just book a taxi from the airport, or you can just use booking.com, get hotels and hostels. Obviously, when you're staying in Kathmandu, you'll just stay in Tamil, which is the most popular places for tourists. There are lots of shops around. If you want to go trekking, you can buy stuff from Tamil, and from there you can depart to your next destination. You can also take bus. There are lots of bus services as well. As I mentioned, like English, almost everyone understands English, and if you are a lone traveler, you can do that as well. You can just take a bus, and if you are on a budget, you can just take a bus to Pokhara and take a site visit around Pokhara, book a room, and you can shop around. Yeah, the buses leave pretty early in the morning. I don't remember the area from where the buses leave, but I've used a bus, never used a flight, because flying is considered really risky in Nepal because of all the terrains and everything. It's not that it's safer, but it's just my parents who are always questioning me. So never took a flight, domestic flight. But if you take a bus, you can experience the actual Nepal. In flight as well, you can experience the scenic view if the weather's good. Yeah, and usually the buses are really cheaper. So you can take buses from Jammu. Yes, that's the name of the place is called Jammu. You can take a bus from there to Pokhara, and there are bus routes to other places as well. Even for like for the Mustang, to go to Mustang, always stay at this place is called Mustang Junction, same stuff. So you can take a vehicle, or if you know how to ride a bike, you can take a bike and enjoy the ride all the way down. It's a rugged terrain. I must warn you, it's not going to be as smooth as driving on a good highway here in Australia or any other possible country. But it's kind of outback experience, I would say, like here in Darwin. So if you are taking a vehicle by yourself, make sure you have a valid driver license. I think there's a international driver license permit as well. You should be able to get to drive with a driver license, your working country Australia, or maybe an American driver license. But it's always great to have information from the local traffic police station. And you can drive by yourself, but make sure if you're driving down the rugged highway, always take a four-wheel drive. Always take a four-wheel drive. And there are other places as well. Within Kathmandu as well, you can go to Bhaktapur and Navapur as well. You'll see lots of old stupas and temples. You can climb the stairs to Monkey Temple. There are actually two ways that you can get to Monkey Temple. There is one on the pretty front. It's a pretty high climb up to the mountain. Up to the mountain. There are stairs all the way up, and it's it's a pretty hike. Or you can cheat your way around. You can go back. You can go around back of the temple. And from there are not much stairs. There are only a few stairs to get to the dedicated temple. It's called Swayambhu. Anyways, the flight's getting pretty bumpy. We are not flying on a realistic live weather. We are on our cruise now. The airport elevation at Johnson is 8,900 feet something, so it is pretty high. Lukla Airport is at elevation of 9,200, 9,100 feet, and it's a really crazy airport because once you're committed to land, you just land. You can't say no, I'll just go down. We're just going to follow the river here to our right. And you'll see as we approach down to Johnson, the funneling effect. I wouldn't say we'll experience that here, but you can imagine like we are flying in between the mountains. It's a beautiful day flight. At least we have some really that way. Yeah, as I was talking about the places that you can visit if you are traveling to Nepal. Yeah, Lalitpur is also a great place. You can also go to Lalitpur and get a pretty beautiful view of the mountains. And within Kathmandu, that's within Kathmandu outside itself. You can go to Chitwan and go for safari trail. My relatives on a hotel down there. It's called Pokhara Resort. I stayed there once when I went to Nepal back in 2018. And the place is pretty good. Really good. They are available in booking.com. I believe on Agora as well. So yeah, and they do the jungle safari as well if you are up to that kind of stuff. And you can also go for boating down the river. And you can choose for safari. You can choose elephant. You can choose to ride an elephant. Or if you don't like elephant rides, you can just go on vehicle as well. But elephant ride, it's much more better. You see the terrain here. Great work by Microsoft Flight Simulator. And for the boarding, you can it's a simple traditional boat, so no life jackets, and you can see crocodiles swimming around. The crocodiles are not that big. It's actually a freshwater crocodile. And when you go to jungle safari, if you're lucky, you can see maybe tigers and deers. Yeah, Chitwan is really popular as well. The other place, I don't think the most tourists goes and realize is Lam. Lam is really popular, really good. There are lots of tea gardens. It's a really good place. Personally, I haven't been there, but I've heard a lot about the place. And when I go there, I'll definitely go to Lam. The other place that you can go on a short trip, just take a bus because not all places are accessible by flights. And transport, you may not feel it. It's pretty good. The roads are rough and tough, but still, it's really good. The other place that you want to go is Kalincho. It's a pretty religious place, but you know, from tourist point of view, it's also a good place for hiking. You can hike from what's the name of this place? The name of the bazaar, I don't remember actually, but you know, yes, it's located in Central Panchak, so you can just go to Kalinchok. You can just take a bus to Kalinchok as well, and from Puri Bazaar, you can hike up to the Kalinchok, but now there is a cable car installed, so if you do get mountain sickness, it's recommended that you take the cable car. Anyways, we are approaching Johnson. And as you can see, it's pretty windy and it's pretty turbulent. If you were observing closely, when we took off from Pokhara, we were at like level 10,500, that's felt pretty high. Right now we feel like we're flying pretty low. That's because of rising terrain. We're flying pretty close to the mountains. We should be arriving at Johnson in about 5 minutes now. We're pretty close. So imagine, like, you know, like there are lots of terrain around, and imagine flying in low visibility around this region. It's very risky. There's no NAVs, no nothing. That's why there are lots of traffic. It's not that the airlines or the it's not that the aircraft are really aircraft are old or aircraft are not managed properly. There are lots of skilled, highly trained manpower now, and even the pilots are really good, really well trained. But you know, you get caught up. Imagine now I'm flying down this valley here, and suddenly, you know, there's a big cloud coming towards me. I need to maintain VFR all the time. But you know, imagine that there's a runway right here, and I was visual, and all of a sudden the cloud came up. And that happened in Nukla. Now, at least here we can go around, but that happens in the club. Once you're committed for landing, you're committed. There's no go around. There is a really popular video on YouTube of go around, but that doesn't happen occasionally because we are in really high altitude and there's some limitations with the engines and everything. So yeah, you've got to be very precise on your landing. At Lukla, and any airport here because the runway strips are really soft. And if you're too fast, you go off the runway. We are approaching Johnson Airport. The visibility is very good. It's a drop to max. We start reducing our speed. The pressure is very bad. It's very turbulent. And the frames are pretty bad as well. It's around laps. We are running flaps for landing. And let's on flaps set for landing. And into this script. A little bit fast, but that's manageable.
Sink rate.
Doing that.
Sink rate. Sink rate. 500.
Reverses. Welcome to Jobson. Setting flaps up. Landing lights are set to off. Sets to on. We'll just park here. Parking brake set. Fuel set to top, set to better. Set to off. Taxi lights set to off. We can remove the sorry, and we can turn off all the lights here. We'll set the fuel boost to off. Open the door, and we'll just open the door for the passengers to get off as well. Thanks for watching and welcome to Johnson. This was our second leg from Pokhara to Johnson. I hope you enjoyed the flight. If you did, please just do subscribe, and I put a link for my YouTube channel as well on the description. There are lots of videos there, much more than my Facebook channel. So please do subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye bye. Until next time.